Hello, everybody. Divine loving blessings. I welcome you back to my channel, and I welcome you right from here in Yanahata. My name is Alura, and today I'd really love to talk with you all about something called the collective consciousness. And there are so many different levels of collective consciousness here. You can go to the universal mind, or you can go into Earth's collective, or you can go into the collective of your family, or even of your spiritual group and friends. And it's a beautiful thing when you connect with others. It really is. But I think that that's the biggest problem out there in the world today is that people make their friends, like-minded people, similarities and common interests shared, but they don't try to open up outside, you know? And there are so many people out there that are so similar and can really relate. So collective is where you're all kind of vibing together. You're feeling one another out and you understand each other. Like even if there was one person in that group that might know just a little bit more, nobody's beneath each other. They're all equals and they get to share and they tell their stories and they grow and they learn from that. However, when it comes to a lot of spirituality these days, it gets very cliquish. It really does. I see it all over. And I know that a lot of people, could say that about me and my group, but I think maybe it would be helpful for you to understand before you judge. And I'm not judging either. I understand that everybody has trust and, they build that together over time. And that's exactly where we're coming from, you know? So within my collective, our collective, their collective, we are a bunch of people that really believe in very similar things. And we have similar moral value and we have similar goals for the world. And within that, we just want to share that with one another. There's been a lot of hurt. Everybody has experienced a lot of hurt, a lot of judgment, a lot of outcasting. And some have even come from backgrounds and families of abuse. So they're looking for that one group that they can connect with and that they can feel like is their family. So we all join together because we find those things in one another. But with everything that's happened, you really can't trust anybody. You can't. And that's because this world is so full of plots, twists, and schemes. And I tell you this from experience. I really do. Not from my own personal experience, but I do know many, many people that are like that. And I know more people that are like that than good people. People that are always up to no good or they can't love unconditionally. There's always some kind of motive behind it. So when my group and I came together, we found each other. We found love. We found synchronicity. We found understanding. And we share those things. There's nobody that is above the other in my group. Like we all connect. But there are other people that through time have tried to enter the group and everybody readily accepted them and had tried to really befriend them. And this is going back into the past, but it's a good example for the present and the future because when you have somebody coming into your group and you feel the vibratory rate of that individual affecting the whole group, there has to be someone who's strong enough to say something because more than likely, in spirituality, everyone tends to kind of lean more towards that passive side. And that's because we're trying to be humble and loving and meek. And somebody has to take the stand. Somebody has to be that stronger foundation. So when that happens, you feel it, and you don't just feel it. And that's the point of the collective that I want to get to, is that when you are in a collective, whether you're in a family collective or a spiritual group or friends, you are together. You're working together, you're vibing off of each other's moods. And it's true, because even in a work environment or at home or even here online, you are connecting with those people, and their energy is going to affect you all around. So if one person's feeling down, someone's going to pick up on it, and then the next most sensitive will get it, and so on, like a domino effect, until everybody scratches their head a little bit and says, what's going on here? I was feeling pretty good earlier, and it just kind of dawned on me. So everybody can feel it, and they can pick up on it. And that's what the collective does, because they're linked. They're brought together through energy and love. So when energy like that starts to affect those people, you have to kindly step aside. You have to say, hey, what's going on? And is there something that you want to talk about? Or is there some issue that, we're unaware of? And there have been people in the past, like throughout time, that have actually made things up in order to kind of just deliberately attack. And that's because they didn't like something about our group or me. And to me, I felt like that was very critical and very judgmental, because if others feel safe and comfortable with one another, then that's a good thing. There's nobody leading. It's just that maybe there's more wisdom and knowledge there that's respected, but everybody has their free will to make their own choices. But everybody works together. Everyone adds something. In my group, we have everybody kind of streaming ideas. And this is how powerful the collective is, okay? One of my cats got sick, and then 3 more of my clients' cats got sick. Yeah. And it was all the same sickness, too. And then one of my clients ended up having body aches, and then I had the body aches, and then my best friend got them, and then another person. There are mutual ideas that are shared, mutual beliefs, and we will share those perspectives. And even though they may seem different on the surface, if you look deeper, they're really not. It's just a different verbal expression that makes it seem that way. And it's up for you to listen here and in here for you to have that understanding of what someone's trying to say. So that's what a collective does. They are kind of exchanging, feeding, vibing off of one another, and growing and learning and helping each other that way. Now, the reason why I talk about the group is because that's a prime example of how the whole world is supposed to be. Every little thing that somebody does within a group or family affects the other. It does. You're projecting through your actions, through your words, and through your thoughts. So think about that. Whenever you make a choice at home or at work, you could very potentially end up streaming that to somebody else, and then they have to take that with them. And you don't want to do that, to somebody else. You know what it feels like. And that's what awareness is. I talk about awareness all the time, because awareness is so important. If you can open up your mind enough throughout the day to constantly question yourself, to say, is this the right choice? Is this the right thing to say? Is this going to affect somebody else, or will this touch their feelings? If you're thinking like that all the time, you're using the gift of discernment. And when you use that, you make better choices. But you have to always incorporate balance, or it's not going to go anywhere. But that's the way the world should be. There should be everybody kind of working together on the same level. There shouldn't be anyone pulling things apart. We should be wanting better things for the planet, better things for wildlife. We should want better things for one another. But look at how much hate still exists out there. You go into celebrities and television shows, and even down to spirituality, and there are beautiful people all throughout spirituality, but there are others who are very insecure. And when they look at those beautiful people, they may feel some type of way that then turns to anger, and anger turns to hate, and then it turns into confrontation and a lack of peace. And that's why it said, if you go back into some of the scriptures that were written, it said, don't stir up contentions with your brother. And that's exactly what it's talking about. Don't have a reason to be mad at those that you are meant to love, because those are your family. How many people every day can go into this store and say, hey there, how are you? And how was your day? And really genuinely mean it without feeling awkward. Not a lot of people. And I do, because I want people to smile and I want them to feel good. But there's not a whole lot of people that really do that. They don't. But that's the point. We got to change this, okay? And there's all kinds of programs out there. Gaia is a good one for information. But is it inspiring you enough to get up and go do something? Usually out there in the world, people do things because of admiration or because they admire so much they want to achieve. And that's what's needed. Really good, inspiring people to get up and say, hey, look, genuinely you are loved and you need change. And as they change, then they inspire change in others. And then it starts this whole beautiful web. And everybody interconnecting, because when you change somebody's life, or even just a small thing in their life, that's something that you never forget. And then you're able to share. Some of my people, I could sit here right now and think to myself of an image, and there are like 5 people that could just draw it perfectly for me because they're there. Or I can feel them when they're sad, and I feel it like right here. And it makes me text them like, hey, how are you today? Not getting into their business, of course, because there has to be respect, there has to be boundaries. But knowing that, it helps because you're connected enough you care enough to connect. And once you do, now you can always be there by that person's side to be supportive. I've had clients that said, oh, I don't want to be in your group to serve you. And I've thought to myself, well, nobody asked you to. This isn't about me. I'm presenting information, but what makes me any better than anybody else? Nothing. I may be a messenger, but I think all of us have a message, don't we? Angelic, Sarcy. I mean, it's important to know where you come from, but what do you really want it for? Do you want it so that you can blast it on your Facebook and say, I am a Syrian Sarcy? Or I've seen some that said, I am a Syrian, Lyran, angelic, indigo, rainbow crystal, vegetarian. I'm sorry, I'm not poking fun, but it's the truth. Like, what do you need all that for? Why? Like, tell people what you do and give them an example of what you're about. Fancy titles don't really do anything. It just part of the ego, So it is good to know your origins, but hold them within. That's where they're supposed to be, to tap into that energy, to learn about it, to tap into it, and to use that to make change, not to project some image, because really, the image isn't going to do anything. It's just going to be an image, You want to be able to make change, and change starts from in here, starts from your soul origin and all the energies that you bring down and you actually use made manifest to get up and do things that normal people, nowadays don't do. Like me and my group, we're out there picking up garbage every day. We're taking walks to inspire others for health. We're doing different projects together. We have one girl, she's writing a beautiful book, and I have a book and also cards, and I have my friends who are doing artwork for me, and they're also helping her. Now that's a family, and that's the way it should be. It should never be a hierarchy. But yet that's what I've been accused of. Why? Because I said that I'm a messenger. So it brings me back to the next point. When you do present your origin to others, how does that change anything about the fact that you are a collective here now? You know? So what about Syrian or vegan or angelic anymore? Because right now you're earthly, and those energies, they should be here, used here, and brought out here. And that's the main important thing. It really is. I just want people to be happy, and I want people to know that there are genuine people out there that care, but you can't, with inside of yourself, feel bitter about other things that you've been through in life and project it onto, other people that are very innocent, or maybe misjudge them. Here's another example of what people do. I had one of my very good friends just recently ask me, Allie, how come nobody talks to me anymore on social media? And I automatically knew, that maybe she was feeling left out, or that maybe nobody liked her, because we're sensitive, And all she had to do was just ask, and everybody would have said, no, we love you, because they do. But the insecurity got her thinking, and it gets in there, those dark energies. They take over, they consume. And it can ruin everything, because what if in that moment that's really what she thought and believed, and left the group, or reacted negatively and ruined the relationships that she had in the group, because we've had those too. So this is just an example for those of you out there that have spiritual groups, or groups of friends and family or coworkers. Be a collective. If you're going to be there, don't just be there, because that's what all of this is about. It really is. So join the collective. We all have to somehow get on that same page, and we got to start provoking change, because soon enough, before you know it, before I know it, this world is just going to keep going down that downward spiral with, whipped cream to cover it, so to speak. It's just going to be sugar coated and everybody blinded, because that's what they want to believe. But when you walk outside, the world, it just doesn't feel the same. Inspire change, everybody, and the people that you love and the people that you see every day in one another. And I want you to know that you all inspire change in me. You're very important to me, and I love you.